over to another situation that almost happened in LAX, right? Now, this was two planes that nearly collided, and there's been a few near misses. I mean, the whole planes colliding with each other is scary business, right? And air traffic control right now is not getting paid as well as TSA. And the safety on airlines is of big concern, because not only, I've talked about this before, how ATC has been short-staffed, overworked, probably underpaid, but now they haven't even been getting paid. We're now in like almost 40 days of government shutdown. So TSA and ATC have still not been getting paid, but nonetheless, there was a near miss that happened in LAX couple of days ago.
We have learned that this was very close to being a very serious accident. It happened just moments after the planes left the runways here at LAX. Experts say it looks like it was pilot error corrected, thankfully, by air traffic controllers. But this will not help public perception right now that flying is less safe as the government shutdown continues and there are massive staffing shortages in the nation's airports. On the top of your screen, ITY 621 is ITA Airlines Flight 621 heading to Rome. Below it, AAL 4 is American Airlines Flight 4 heading to New York.
Cal 61 Heavy, stay with me.
Watch as an air traffic controller seems to notice something happening with the ITA plane upon takeoff. It's headed in the wrong direction, turning left into the path of the American flight. He orders the ITA pilot to turn right immediately, as another controller warns the American plane to stop climbing. Another jet is in its way, reportedly within 5 seconds of crashing in midair.
Now, look, the reason why I play that, this can happen. Has happened. You know what I'm saying? But air traffic control needs to be paid. You got to make sure they get paid. They work ridiculous hours, and the safety of Americans flying planes is so much hinged, not just on the pilots, not just on the planes themselves, being in good condition, but the air traffic controllers. Pilots can make errors, and, they have radar, they have their flying skills, but the air traffic controller are their they're talking GPS on the ground, if you will. So again, I keep talking about this. I don't think enough people really understand what it's like to work that type of job, TSA and ATC, and not be getting paid. I mean, they work long hours. A lot of them work 6 days a week, 10-hour shifts, and they still are not getting paid, and they're everyday people.
Now, every politician that I've heard has said that there's no correlation between the lack of pay and safety and security. You say there that there is a security risk created by this.
I think anyone that says that is absolutely insane. With any what we're going through as federal workers is traumatic for a lot of people. And we know that traumatic experiences have effects on your mental. So if anyone is saying that, I absolutely don't agree with that. My stance will still be that this is affecting officers mentally. And if this continues to go on, I hope that it doesn't happen, but there needs to be some recourse that happens immediately to take care of these officers so they can get the stress of not knowing what's going to happen with their homes, their children, their families every day.
All right, let's expand the conversation now and bring in Darrell Wilson, retired naval aviator and pilot who is one of the leaders of the Georgia Black Republican Council, and Theron Johnson, a Democratic strategist. Darrell, let me start with you. We just heard here from a TSA worker who says that this is a safety risk, not paying people. What's your reaction to that?
Well, that's one of the reasons that the Secretary of Transportation has taken the steps to alleviate the congestion and the stress upon the system and reducing the number of flights. You have to be able to do something, take some action, and that's the action that's being taken at the time.
I don't know that eliminates the safety risk.
I think it's a no-brainer. I don't think it's even complicated. If you don't pay the people who are in charge of some of the most critical parts of air travel and safety, yes, you're compromising safety. People who don't get paid, people go to work simply to get paid. Nobody's going to work just because they just want to be there. I mean, yeah, people like their jobs, but at the end of the day, if you take away the money from most jobs, people aren't going to show up. This is not like their own business. It's not their only passion and they're just showing up because they own the business. No, these are workers, TSA workers, air traffic control workers. They are showing up to get paid and feed their families and pay their bills. So The fact alone, to me, the biggest thing about this shutdown, honestly, to me, is that we should reevaluate who gets paid during the shutdown, right? Now, I already talked about SNAP. I'm not going to talk about SNAP benefits. It is what it is. They're figuring out the SNAP benefits. So I'm not going to go into that, but air traffic control is, because look, that near collision, if it wasn't for that air traffic controller in California, that could have been a huge accident with a lot of casualties. So I'm praying that no one ends up being killed. I'm hoping that no major airline catastrophe happens, because if something happens, keep in mind too, TSA too, a lot of people are sleeping on TSA. Let's just say, for example, and again, I'm not wishing it, I'm not hoping it, but let's just say, for example, there was a terrorist who wanted to plant something on a plane, a bomb, or whatever the case is. Think about it. TSA is the one who is in charge of catching that stuff, right? So you're not paying them. They're tired. They're not getting paid. They're frustrated, stressed. You don't want those workers stressed. If they miss something, a lot of people could die. You understand what I'm saying? So I think this is the biggest lesson.
How to pay the rent, how to pay for food, how to fill the gas tank up, instead of what's coming through on that scanner.
Oh, no, I agree with you. And Secretary Duffy has also made that case for the air traffic controllers as well. So there is a safety issue. And like, again, until the Democrats vote for opening the government again, you have to take some action, and action is being taken.
Theron, why did Democrats yesterday vote against a bill to pay federal workers? What justifies that?
Because Democrats want this shutdown to end that the president created. You got to remember, Victor, we tried to negotiate with the president months ago. We trusted him in the first we were first able to stop the first shutdown in March because we trusted that he was going to do the right thing. But going forward, we want this shutdown to end, not just continue to piecemeal it.
I mean, you can't do both. Aaron's members of his union can't keep their apartments, and they can't feed their children and put gas in the car and continue to negotiate.
That's a good point. I don't know if you guys missed that, but it looks like the Democrats turned down a bill to pay federal workers, right? Because they want to fully open the government with the Obamacare subsidies in place. And again, my thing is that you got to look at what's important. I think it would be okay to piecemeal it right now. If they can't figure out, the agreement as far as the Obamacare subsidies, from what I understand, they wanted to extend them a year. And I had said that a couple of episodes ago. That would be a sensible thing for maybe the Republicans to consider, just to extend the subsidies for 1 year and open the government. Now, if they can't agree on that, I think that if there was a proposal to pay federal workers in the meantime, I don't see why the Democrats would turn that down. And that guy kind of skimmed over it. So if that's true, I think that's shame on the Democrats too, because for them to go ahead and not vote on having or passing something to make sure federal workers are paid through the shutdown is crazy. Because again, we have this real problem. And if someone ends up dying, or people, mass casualties end up dying because they're not paying these critical federal workers, it's all going to look bad for everybody. So we're going to see what happens. But like I said, I keep covering that. I think air traffic control and TSA, they don't get their flowers enough. I think people kind of look over it and they think that, it's just, no big deal. When you're going up, when I'm going to the airport to fly a plane, I pray that air traffic controllers are rested, happy, paid, right? TSA, I'm hoping that they are the same way. You got to keep them happy. They are so critical. They're so critical to our air travel.